Hello and welcome. This is Lisa Jones, and you are listening to the Exploring Death podcast. Today I have with me Peter Wright. Peter is a certified hypnotherapist in Santa Barbara with 25 years of experience. Plus, he is one of only 40 board-certified past life regression therapists in the nation. In addition, Peter is a certified as a Life-Between-Lives Hypnotherapist, and he's skilled in spirit releasement. Peter has helped more than 1,800 clients through hypnotherapy. He offers hypnotherapy sessions in person, by phone, and by Skype. For more information, you can go to his website, which is insightsfromwithin.com. And of course, I'll have all of those resources in the notes. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you here, mainly because you and I did a session, a hypnotherapy session, about a month ago, 8 weeks ago, something along those lines. And I was blown away by both what was uncovered and also how it totally released me from this really dark period I'd been going through. And so I just felt I really wanted to bring you on so my listeners could see firsthand some of the amazing people that I work with. And so that if they're ever going through a situation where they might be able to use your services, then they would have a firsthand account and not only that, but a deep conversation that we're going to have today to talk much more about hypnotherapy and how it can help people.
Thank you. It sounds good to me.
Okay. So I wanted to start with what is hypnotherapy? I mean, what is actually happening when you talk to a client and help them, like in my situation or in my experience, you basically brought me to a very deep level of relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you and I, we did this via phone. So, we didn't have to be in person or anything. But it's just amazing. I mean, all you're doing is talking to me. It's not like you're, waving a watch in front of me or doing any of that, but it really took me to a very deep place. So what's happening with all of that?
So with hypnosis is just simply focused concentration, where you're fully aware of everything that's going on around you. You hear the traffic outside, but hopefully you're sharing with me what's going on inside of you, because I truly believe that so many of our answers are within us if we can just get out of the way. And I'm here to help you get out of the way. I find that if you've ever cried while watching a sad film, you've been in trance, focused concentration. Reading a good book, watching television, you're in that very relaxed zone. And when you're in that relaxed zone, we can connect you with your higher self. You're already connected, but which voice is it? Which feeling is it when you know you're connected to your true self? We find that out right up front and take you into this very relaxed place of hypnosis so you can communicate easily with your own inner wisdom.
Wow. And what about people that say like, oh, I just, I can't be hypnotized, or like they're just concerned or that they can't go there? I mean, I'm with 1,800 clients, I'm sure you've had some situations that might have been more difficult than others. Maybe, I don't know.
Most people can be hypnotized, but all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. You're in charge. So if you're sitting there crossed arms saying, I'm not going to be hypnotized, you're not. But if you are instead there expectant and wanting to go into a very relaxed place, the basic induction is relax, 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 relax. And just naturally go there. Plus, I put on music that's guaranteed to take you into a relaxed state of hypnosis. So I tell the client not to disappoint the music.
Right.
So,
oh my gosh.
Well,
I love that, because when I first started doing my channeling, I did readings out of this one metaphysical bookshop in Ridgefield, Connecticut. And a client came in and sat down and had their arms crossed and their legs crossed. And basically she just said, read me. And I thought, oh dear, like I can't read you. You're so closed down, that it's virtually impossible when people shut their own, receptors off, or, I don't even know what or how it really works to bring in that connection when I channel from the other side. But obviously if somebody's shut down, it's not going to work.
Right.
And then they're just proving themselves right, because they're so closed off to it. So I think that's the funny thing too.
Exactly.
Well, great. We were talking about when, again, during my session, we went to kind of this between lives, and we went back and we're looking at some past life situations and about how it was affecting me in my current life. And so, I mean, I'd love for you just to maybe shed some light about like where you take people and how this helps them in their current life situation.
So by connecting with the higher self, we have, just as the session began, established goals between us as to what you like to accomplish. What are your intentions for the session? It can be to release anxiety, depression, fear. It can be relationship issues that you have, grief as well. And so by establishing the intention, I then take you into a very relaxed state of trance, connect you with your higher self and heart. Let me just explain a little bit more about that. I find that with talk therapy, we're working with the conscious mind, the memory, and the ego, all within a three-dimensional model of this is all there is. There's nothing more than this. But as you know, Lisa, there's so much more than just the third dimension. So in working with hypnosis, we're working with the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensions and beyond, such as all your emotions, this life and past lives, your physical body, what's happened to it in this life and past lives. Your physical body remembers past lives. I've had a number of clients who have lower back pain, and there's a sword still sticking out of the body from a past life. Take out the sword and the pain goes away. But most importantly, we're working with your spirit body. By that, I mean your connection to your higher self and heart and all the guidance that's available to you in the non-physical realm, all the way up and including source or whatever you call the divine. So it's a broader palette of resources that are available to us. So right up front, we connect with higher self and heart and ask them, based on the goals that we've set, our intentions, to take us back to the cause or source, whether it's in this life or a past life or someplace else, and encourage you, as I mentioned, to get out of the way and let's find out what happened. And they take us there. And so once we are there in the story of a past life or earlier in this life or somewhere else, we invite your inner wisdom team, your higher self and your heart, and any other guides or resources who've shown up. Frequently it's Archangel Michael and others from the light, whether you believe in them or not. We invite them to join us and tell us what wants to happen next to help you come to closure. They tell us, we do that, and so much can shift, as you experienced in our 2-hour session, from this opportunity to connect with your own inner wisdom team.
Right. And that was what was so amazing to me is, you're leading the session, but everything that happens is out of my mouth. I mean, that to me was one of the most phenomenal experiences, because so many other modalities, you work with, it's kind of like the person is telling you rather than you telling yourself, or you're really tapping into your own inner wisdom when you're doing the hypnotherapy. It was just phenomenal, even though some of it was kind of like, wow, like how did that happen? Or, where on earth did I come up with that idea, but it's coming out of my mouth. So I can't really deny it.
I find that about 60% of my clients are visual. So we meet with higher self or go into a past life and they see it all. They're starring in their own motion picture costume drama. Terrific. But about 40% of my clients, and I'm in this group myself, are more,
and me too,
are more auditory or sensing or feeling, which is kinesthetic. So whenever I meet with my higher self or go into a past life, I don't see anything. I hear it, I sense it, I feel it, I know exactly what's going on. I just don't see it. So it's very easy for my ego self to say, Peter, you're making this up. Well, I'm making up this story, not that one over there. It's coming from somewhere. And I find that in these sessions, your soul speaks through your imagination. And your soul isn't making things up, rather it's translating what is inside of you through first thought, first feeling, first image, first voice, And all you need to do, Lisa, as you discovered, is be my tour guide, be my court reporter, and share with me whatever's happening or not happening as the session unfolds. And the sessions just flow as a result, with the help of all those who are from the non-physical realm helping us out.
That's right. That's right. And again, so much was cleared in that amount of time. I mean, again, I had sent you a list of things I wanted to go through, and, we got through all of them, I think. And just, like I said, the next day, I was in a state of actual euphoria, really. I mean, it just felt like all of this heavy darkness or something had been lifted off of me. And I remember I was down at the beach doing yoga and just feeling on top of the world. And in fact, I felt so good. I just said, I'm just going to send love out to everybody that walks by. And a woman walked by right at that moment. And I just was like, in my mind, I said, I'm sending you a big, giant ball of love. And I went poof like that with my hands. And her hat flew up off her head and then landed right back down on it. And I just started laughing hysterically. I said, wow, I don't know what Peter did, but I've got magical powers on top of feeling so much better. So
what fun. What fun.
So I would love it. Do you have maybe a story or two that really, comes to mind about your experience in this, or, something? I did some past life, or I'm past life certified, but and my teacher had told many stories about, them going in and like you said, about pain disappearing or something like that, but something that's like, wow, it's not an everyday story.
I had a client several years ago who was an airline pilot, and he came to me because he was in his spare time. His passion was opera singing, but he couldn't trill his R's as an opera. And he was wondering if we could use hypnosis as a way to help him do this. So let's get together. We did, took him into a relaxed state of trance, and he found himself as a young German prior to World War II, growing up, and his father was in the military, and the son wanted to be an opera singer. And the father said, no, you're going to go into the Navy. So he went into the Navy, and then World War II began. And so as we go into what happens with working with past lives, we go into the story, wherever we turn out to be going into this story, and invite you to become that character. So what happens is I invite you to just simply follow the energy on back into that particular lifetime. Then I invite you to become, as I'm counting from 1 to 5, go back to that particular lifetime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plant yourself firmly down in the memory of your body as it was then, and plant your feet firmly into that body. Look down and clearly see your feet. What are you wearing on your feet? So we quickly establish character with hands, hair, and so on. So this client found himself aboard a German submarine during World War II. He was just a seaman aboard the submarine. And as we go through the lifetime, looking for the next important event, we discovered that the submarine had been torpedoed by the Allied forces. And everybody on board had died, of course, because it wasn't able to surface. And they died of asphyxiation. So as part of the technique that I use in exploring past lives is we go into the story, find out what are the defeats that you suffered? Where do things go wrong for you in that lifetime? Because they could be affecting you karmically in your present lifetime. We then go to the day of your death. How did you die? What was your dying thought? Because the dying thought can have a major impact on an upcoming lifetime. So if you die of starvation, there's never enough food. Well, there may be plenty of food in this life, but there's never enough. So then we invite you to move out of your physical body into your spirit body. How does that feel? This is, again, your imagination, but in your spirit body. Often a client will say lighter. And then I invite you to go into the bardo, B-A-R-D-O. It's an in-between place between lifetimes that the Tibetan Buddhists talk about. And you get there through your intention. Are you there? The airline pilot / yeoman aboard the submarine said he was there. So I invited him then to invite anyone from that life we had just explored to come and join us with any unfinished business. So he invited his father to join us because as part of the story, we discovered that his father had forced him to go into the Navy and he couldn't be the musician that, or I guess it was musician that he wanted to be. And he confronted his father and his father apologized to him. Okay. So then from there, we went and confronted the captain of the submarine because he died because the captain wasn't able to get away from the bombs that were falling upon and killed everybody on board. So he apologized. He was outmaneuvered by the Allied troops or whatever, forces. So then we discovered that after each of these conversations, I invite you to look deeply into the eyes of that family member or the captain. Are they an important person in your life today? And as he looked into his father's eyes, he discovered that it was his nephew in his present lifetime. And as he looked into the captain's eyes, he discovered it was his current boss who he couldn't stand. So you can then see the connections with people in your life today. So he felt really good about the session, but we realized towards the end that he had died of asphyxiation. Therefore, his throat was, he could not breathe, and that it had affected his vocal cords. So we drew the session to a close. We got together a week later to talk about the session, and he said that he could now trill his R's because he had come to closure with the reasons why he died. And he said he couldn't sing like Pavarotti, but he was still singing much better than he had been before.
Wow.
So it was, then he went on to the internet and discovered the submarine that he was on because he knew the day of the sinking and the name of the captain and realized that, oh my gosh, this in fact did happen.
Whoa.
So
that's intense.
Intense is right. So it was fun to experience that with him and through him. So
yes.
These lifetimes could be real, which is, I think, something I do want to say. Towards the end of the session, a client may say to me, Peter, was I really a farmer who was forced to go off to war, leaving his pregnant wife at home alone and then died in battle? I mean, really? Well, Dr. Brian Weiss, a psychiatrist who wrote a book called Many Lives, Many Masters, which is a classic in the field of past life regression, believes that up to 80% of what happens in these stories could have happened to you, maybe. Or maybe you attracted to you someone else's story from the collective unconscious of all those stories of everyone are out there. You told that person's story because it mirrors where you're stuck. Telling that person's story helped you become unstuck. Or maybe you made up the whole thing. But is the pain in the shoulder gone? Oh, it is. Then let's not worry about it. So there's stories in past lives that are coming through you that have the capability, the capacity of helping you heal.
Right. I love that. And that's what my teacher told me, or told our class as well, is that even if we're making it up, if you get the result, I mean, who cares?
Who cares?
You don't have to believe it. You just have to experience the unfolding of wherever you're going. So I'd like to talk about, I mean, this podcast is about death. And so whether it's through grief or I'm just curious about what your experience is to help people, you know, with their grief or anything around death with your work.
I had a client not too long ago who, an American, who had married a German woman. And they had a difficult marriage. They were together for 25 years, but it was difficult. And yet in the last 6 months of her life, as her health declined, he really was taking care of her. And while resenting it, because it wasn't a happy marriage, he did his duty. And upon her death was really so heartbroken that she was no longer there. So he was asked her if we could perhaps connect with her. So let me I'll get back to that in just a minute by mentioning something else. I was at a workshop several years ago, and there was another hypnotherapist present as a participant. and we engaged in idle chatter before the workshop began. During one of the breaks, he shared with me on his cell phone part of a video of one of his client sessions. The client was in hypnosis, and they had invited the client's Uncle Harold to come and join them for the session in the imagination of the client. Uncle Harold had passed on years before, but in the video, you could see a little photograph of Uncle Harold dancing right next to the client's face. There was no photograph of Uncle Harold actually in the session room, but Uncle Harold was present, thank you very much, which proved to me that everybody's available to us in the trance state, whether they're currently alive, or they've passed on, or they're past life personalities, as we saw with the bringing forth the captain of the ship and the father with the pilot opera singer, or they're beings of light, guides from the non-physical realm. They're all available. So with his client whose wife had died, we invited her to join us in his imagination. And what blew me away was, as they were talking, because he said how much he missed her, and she said how much she missed him. But then she said, on the other side, she had realized that having been born in Berlin during World War II, soon after the Allied forces were bombing Berlin, she spent a lot of time with her family in air raid shelters. And her parents hated Americans because they were bombing the Germans. So she had taken on this hatred of Americans, but had lodged it in her subconscious. She had no memory of it in her physical body, but from the other side, she apologized to her husband to say how sorry she was that she had had a difficult relationship with him because it was fostered by that forgotten anger towards Americans. So they, if you will, forgave each other and have stayed in rather close contact since her departure. And he loves to jog, and she goes jogging with him every week. He feels her presence around him, and they talk, and just, it's, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, how nice, how nice.
How beautiful. And I mean, I've got chills as you say that, because it just shows you that relationships continue even after someone passes, and in some ways, even in a better state than when they were here in the physical.
So let me give another example, and I have some notes on it here just to make sure I'm, speaking the truth here. I had a client, 60-year-old female, and her daughter had committed suicide, her 21-year-old daughter. And we invited the daughter, to join us. And mom asked the daughter, because it's mom imagining daughter present, and daughter's really there. And on some aspect of her is truly there. So why did you have to go? Mom asked the daughter. And daughter replied, it was prearranged in our soul contracts. We all agreed in order for us to learn in compassion, to experience this for the betterment of all. We made this pact before we came here. And the experience of unexpected death shows us how to love each other and be closer, appreciating each other and not taking anything for granted. Every moment of life is a gift. So how do you respond to your daughter? And mom said, I don't like this contract. I want to take it back. Daughter replied, Mom, you're going to be okay. And you'll find that this contract will propel you on your soul's path. You were stuck, and this needed to happen to push you, Mom, to realign, to move forward alone. Don't be scared. You can do this. In fact, you've already agreed to do this as part of your soul contract before coming into this life. Mom, up ahead, you'll meet people on your path who will help you fulfill what you came here to do. And you're supposed to help others and show them how to get through a tragedy of losing a daughter to suicide and still love and live with compassion. I'm always with you, Mom. I'll help you. We talk every night when you're asleep. I'll never leave you. we have a deep spiritual bond. Wow. The client
Yes.
felt such a
Wow.
huge relief at the close of that session.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
This is real, folks. And we all have the ability to, through our imaginations, invite loved ones who've passed on to join us. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so healing to have that conversation in hypnosis when a lot of you has gotten out of the way, so that in fact you can come to closure with loved ones who've passed on.
Right. And I love that, because I think for so many people that want to connect with their passed away loved ones, they don't know how to do that. And even if, I explain the way that I channel or, and I mean, I've got tips that help people do that. But I think if you really want to shortcut it, you just go to hypnosis, and
Right.
people listening in, make an appointment with Peter, because I mean, he can take you to that point where you can connect with your passed on loved ones. And it's so healing. It's amazing. And you're the one, again, it's not him telling you. And I mean, it's
Right.
you creating the experience for
You
yourself.
are your own medium.
That's right.
Right.
That's
And one other
right.
one I want to share, excuse me. The eldest son was deep into drugs and killed himself at the age of 27. And so mom wanted to know why. Why did you do this? He told us that continuing to live was just too painful for him. He did not know what else to do, yet he was sorry that his family had gone through so much grieving. He told his mom, let go of the grief, that he was doing just fine in the spirit world. But then he said this. He said his grandma, his father's mother, is with him in the spirit world and looking out after him. And that he had never met his father's mother. He never met her before, but said to mom, his mom, she's here with me now. And then he said that he would be reincarnating as one of his mother's grandchildren. So,
Wow.
yes, again, they're so available to us.
Right.
And all is
Right.
well.
All is well. And as I just love the concept that you can take anyone to that point, by through this relaxation technique, which is, it's so powerful. I mean, I'm here to attest that.
And we're being led by your own higher self and all the guidance available to us. Whether you believe in it or not, it's there. It's loving, it's
Right.
supportive, and wants you to heal.
Wonderful. That's amazing. Well, let me pull some cards on this, if that's okay, Peter.
Please.
I'll see what Spirit has to say about this hypnosis and what's, oh my goodness, I can see what's happening. Oh my gosh, these cards are just so perfect. All right, so the first card is always the blockage card, and it's freedom.
Okay.
And which makes total sense, because when you are, when you feel like you're in a bad place in your life, whether it's grief or depression or sadness or upset, anything, right? You don't have the freedom. You're completely, you're like being just encapsulated by those feelings and keeping you hostage, really, right?
Right.
And so so then the action card, which to me, again, we're talking specifically about hypnosis, is miracles. And that's really what I think you do. I mean, the work that you do, you are literally, miracles are just unfolding, right in front of your eyes, as people are bringing forth their passed away loved ones, as people are bringing forth these experiences from past lives, which, affect dramatically their current life. I mean, the opera singer, to be able to trill after having a session with you, I mean, that's a miracle. So that's the action card. And then the outcome card is healing.
Whoa.
Right?
What fun. Yay, us.
Yay, us for sure. So that, to me, Spirit's just saying and confirming, just how powerful this work is. And really, I mean, they're showing me right now that it's almost like you're a magician, with being able to just bring forth and hold the space for people to be able to open to their own miracles. Right. And you're just there helping implement, or helping them to implement it in
And
front of them.
it's all based for both of us on first thought, first feeling, first image, first voice. So
Right.
just get out of the way and be my tour guide, be my court reporter, because we're both being led by those on the other side, or
That's
wherever
right.
that other side might be.
Right. Whatever that other side is. And it is so true. I think people just make life so complicated. So we're always overthinking. We're not used to going with our first thought, first feeling,
Right.
and that's what I love about your work is it's so simple and so easy because it is. It's just, it's the first thing that pops into your head and it may not make sense when you say it out loud, but then it
Mhm.
all weaves together,
Right.
it creates this amazing magical mystery tour that takes you on this healing path. So it's amazing. So is there anything else that, is there anything coming forth that you want to share with the listeners about hypnosis or any other kind of thought that's
Um,
coming?
Something I would like to say is not only are we working with past lives and with bringing uh, loved ones from the other side or people in your life to join us in your imagination, we're also dealing with thoughts, feelings, attitudes, and beliefs that you are carrying within yourself that no longer serve you. And so one of the ways I do this is that, let's say a client is dealing with anxiety or anger or depression or fear or whatever. I might ask the client as they are in the session to focus on, let's say the issue is depression. I may say, okay, so now take a moment and focus on those feelings of depression that you were carrying within your being. And as you focus on them right now, bring them to your conscious mind and then tell me, where are you holding on to those feelings? First thought, oh, it's in my chest, says the client. So as you focus on the feelings of depression in your chest, right now, what color is that energy? First thought, oh, it's black. Okay, as you focus on the black depression energy in your chest, what shape is that black depression energy? Oh, it's a circle, yeah, it's a circle. All right, can you take your imagination, your mind, and surround that black circle of depression energy in your chest right now? Surround it with your imagination, your mind, taking control of it, because up until now, it's been controlling you. And as you grab onto it, squeeze it. And if that depression energy could speak, what would it say? In other words, channel it. And often a client will say, I'm angry, or whatever it may be. Because what I'm seeking to do here is I'm looking to talk with that energy itself, the depression, not visit each of the times you felt depressed over the last 10 years, but talk to the energy. Because by doing so, as if you were channeling it, we can ask questions like, how long have you been with Lisa? How have you been affecting Lisa? Who hired you? And what wants to happen to release you? And I find that with the help of higher self, heart, and all the other guides with us, that very quickly, not only does the energy talk to us, but they can suggest ways to release it, to let it go. And one of the ways we do this is to invite you, since that energy is now in control of, you're now in control of that energy, to move it on up your body with your imagination from your chest, on up and out to the top of the head, putting it behind you in the light. And as you do this, we invite the angels of the white light to receive that depression energy and transmute it into white light energy, so it's gone. And then invite you to imagine bright white crystalline light filling up your chest. And as it gets lighter and brighter and stronger, bring it all the way up to a 10 in its intensity. So it's really bright white light in your chest. And then allow it to surround the light with your mind. And as you surround it with your mind, let it mix with your mind, because in the light, there is truth, there's freedom, an opportunity to be compassionate, opportunity to let go of all this stuff that has been in that depression energy. And what occurs, Lisa, which is just to me amazing, is that it shifts the energy for you. And it does wonders in taking off layers of anger or fear or depression or grief or whatever that no longer serve you, because we have filled that area of you with very bright white crystalline light that does what it needs to do. And then afterwards, I'll ask the light, have you a message for Lisa from the chest? And often it is so positive, it is so helpful to you, knowing that you have now released layers of that negative emotion that no longer serves you.
Right. And that was so powerful. We did, I think a variety of all of these things that we've talked about in my session. And that was what was so powerful. And then what I love even more about it, or part of that, is it's so, in the one session with you, I feel like I removed layers that could have taken years in talk therapy to get to, or to, again, the talk therapy is all just the current conscious, just remashing and rehashing the whole thing, which to me doesn't help. You really need to get to those subconscious layers and like you said, surround that depression and wrap it up and get it out of there.
Exactly. And then, so towards the end of the session, then I invite clients to connect and choose in their imagination a sacred spot, a special place where they can reconnect with their higher self and their heart and any other resources that showed up. And it could be at the beach, at the top of the mountain, in your backyard, but somewhere that you feel so safe, so secure. And just to go there then in their imagination, describe it to me. And once you're sitting there surrounded by the trees in the meadow with the brook next to it, sitting on the rock, whatever, I invite you to ask in your higher self to join you. How do you experience your higher self? Your heart, how do you experience your heart? Archangel Michael, if he's one of the ones, how do you experience his energy? You describe them to me and feel them and know that they're there. And then I ask if they would be willing to meet with you here, maybe daily or whenever you choose, to commune with them, feel their love and their support for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and then ask them a question about the day and get answers from them for your highest good about the day. And so as a follow-up then, I send you a higher self shortcut, which is a 9-minute long guided visualization, my voice. You can download it onto your computer for free, and it will take you up into the light where you can then meet with your inner wisdom team in your sacred spot, special place, feeling that love, that support, and asking questions. And I find that the more you do this, the more answers you're going to be getting. Plus the ego mind will start saying, oh my gosh, it's working, and perhaps get out of the way more, helping you to have that ongoing connection with your intuitive wisdom rather than asking outside of yourself for answers.
Right. That's beautiful. That's amazing. And so is there, I know this is, because I received that with my session, is there anything just that you could recommend for the listeners that they could do for themselves? Just any kind of...
Absolutely. I encourage your listeners to use bubbles and shields of white light. If you consider that the physical body is protected by the immune system, you know that. The spirit body is protected by the aura, your energy field around you, which is 1 arm's length on all sides of you. So I encourage clients to imagine themselves sitting there with concentrating on their heart, if you will, at a bright white light in your heart, making it larger and larger, stronger and stronger, filling yourself up with this white crystalline light, then expanding it into the aura as well. So you are in a bubble of, a shield of white crystalline light. And then to put on the outside, perhaps mirrors, so that any negativity bounces off of you and goes back from whence it came. And to use this daily, or when you have phone calls you don't want to make, or people you don't want to see, to help you be in your center, protected, because that way you can avoid a lot of the negativity that's out there, and to be feeling in your own power, your own strength.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that so much. Wonderful. Well, thank you. So, Peter, can you mention again your website and how people can get a hold of you if they would like to contact you?
Yes, please. My website is www.insightsfromwithin.com. www.insightsfromwithin.com. And I offer free 30-minute consultations by phone or in person or by Skype, with clients where we talk about what their issues are and how perhaps in working in partnership using hypnosis, we can quickly get to the cause or source of the issue and help you to come to closure with it. So those are offered, and I invite your listeners to contact me either through my website or by phone, and we can set something up.
Fabulous. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Peter. This was such a great conversation. And I know that my listeners learned so much. And I love the idea of surrounding ourselves with the white light and putting those mirrors out there. Keep all that negative energy bouncing back toward where it came from.
Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it as well.
Thank you for listening to the Exploring Death podcast. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Before you make any financial or legal decisions, consult a professional. This show is copyrighted by Exploring Death. Written permission must be granted before syndication or rebroadcasting.